Hey there, welcome to another edition of the Akashic Portal Weekly. We're looking at the week of October 5th through the 11th, 2020. I'm Jen Duchene of JenDuchene.com, and I am using the Illuminating Journey cards that I created with the help of the Akashic Records. So, this is a big week. Sunday today, the 4th of October. Pluto has just turned stationary to go forward. Well, it's been stationing for the last few days. It's slow movement, but what's really key here is that Pluto is stationed forward at 22:29, so almost 23 degrees. The number 22, of course, connects to the year we're in 2020, because if you take out the zeros, it's 22. And this number is highly significant. We had this movement at the beginning of the year with the 22, with the Pluto, Saturn, and Jupiter. I believe Jupiter as well. That was at 22 degrees on the 12th of January. So we know that this is a pivot point. Pluto is about the underground, bringing to light what is our fears, the things that control us, that we don't see, like maybe keep us silent, poison us. Maybe the things that come to the surface are things that will poison us or reveal things about us or about others. But basically, it's a time when you can feel all of this energy rising to the surface. Like it's just like we just can't keep flushing all that down. We just can't escape from the compost, the results of the compost that we have created in this lifetime, many lifetimes. So I'm definitely feeling a sense of density, because that is the density of Pluto. Even though rules Scorpio, feels to me very deep earth based in many ways. So will definitely impact us on a physical level. However that shows up, just know there'll be revelations, there'll be impact of health and our kind of belief about ourselves. It'll be interesting. Let's see what the first card has to say. So the first card is a 4, so very, very interesting, because here I'm talking about Pluto stationing forward at 22, which is a 4. The 22, the significance of the 22, and the year we're in, 2020, which is also a 4. And that 22 is highly significant because 22 is a master number. It's a number that requires us to find the balance within ourselves, that harmony, right? The harmony of being at peace with whatever we've been bullshitting ourselves about, whatever we have suppressed within us, so that we could, show up in the world like, yeah, I'm cool, nothing's wrong with me, but we are all party to everything, party and particle to everything around us. Like somehow or other, it's just part of the whole show, right? And it's all part of us. And 4 is a number of Earth, so it's about bringing ideas to Earth. This year, the 4 year, is a foundational year for the new time we're going in. So we're creating a foundational structure and needing to remove the poison or whatever it is that is stopping us from, or the illusion or the delusion, the things under the surface that we haven't talked about that have controlled us, the struggles that we have been connected to in some way or other, a system that we've lived in with abuse and abusers and all of the things that happen, because there's this desire to kind of not only bully our feelings or kind of expect people to be a certain way, but also allow others to treat us in ways that don't feel good. So whatever is subversive beneath that is needing to come out so it can be, the system can be cleansed, so that the system is actually recreated with uh, things that have integrity, honesty, clarity. When we're building something new, we want to make sure the foundations are super clear. And the 22, with that mastering of the old, getting over our feelings of I'm not enough if people know about me, or know the hidden parts of who I am. And this is the time to bring that all to the surface. This is who I am. This is what I've experienced. I'm okay with it, or whatever I am with it. But the truth is, there's a peace that happens when we allow the world to see us for who we are, and when we see things. So it's not a matter of judging in terms of how humans judge, like that's wrong, that's right. It's more a matter of like, okay, I see this, and now what do I want to do with it? Do I want to continue to push and prod and have expectations that can't be met by any human? Or do I want to engage with more love and compassion and kindness? So this is about putting down the base of how we want to live. It's also about taking responsibility in a new way. So while we understand people have done things that maybe we don't agree with, either a lot or a little, that the way to change the system is by having a code of ethics or rules, and then holding everyone to the same code. Like, we can't decide, oh, well, you have an extenuating circumstance, so you get to bypass. And our system has tended to bypass people that have some kind of influence, right? Either whether they have more money, or they know the right people, or they're smooth talkers, or whatever it is. They're like, oh, well, they told a good story, so now they can, they're free from taking responsibility for their actions. And when you do those things, it creates a breakdown in integrity. Just thinking about integrity, not like you did the wrong thing, you did the right thing, but integrity in terms of what would make solid foundation. If you have a table, 4 legs, this is integrous so that it's solid, right? That each leg is equal in the way that it holds weight, in its firmness of how it touches the ground. That's integrity, right? So every piece has to have the same construct. Everyone takes responsibility for what is theirs. Everyone takes responsibility for saying, no, I'm not accepting this kind of behavior, but I'm going to treat you in a way that I want to be treated, or whatever it is we're creating, with diligence, with discipline, with a willingness to hold ourselves and others accountable. So this idea of hiding behind illusions that we've done so well for so long, because we've all benefited from it, right? It's not just some who benefited from it. We've all benefited. We may not have benefited the way we wanted to benefit. This may not have been our chosen way, but this is what has happened. And so in order to create a different system, that 22, mastering the old in order to move into the new from a place of peace. So we're not trying to control the outcome. We're not trying to control others, but we are creating a grid or a kind of way of being in the world. And if we want to maintain that, we have to all take responsibility for holding others accountable, holding ourselves. What is required when we do certain things? What do we need to do? Like, and show up. Everyone needs to get to that same place. If that works or not, I don't know, but that's very interesting that the 4 now speaks again and reminds us of the basis: Pluto, Saturn, Jupiter, these planets bringing us to a different place where we need to master the old, the way the old has dominated us and victimized us, made us feel less than a system that we agree to. Yeah, the system says I'm not enough, therefore let me look for evidence and prove it. Or the system says I can get away with this, so let me look for evidence, whatever it is, right? So regardless, right, of whatever, wherever we are in the structure, we want to part ways with the old way of being, of seeing the world in a certain way that makes some less than others and some more, right? We want to go like, well, everyone is kind of back to, square one. We all begin now, and it is what we bring that is, benefits us. We just can't have this currying favors for certain people because they have certain things, right? I don't know. It's kind of a complicated thing, isn't it? When you start thinking about how all of these things need to work. We don't know the answers. We're just at the beginning. We're the beginning of starting something new. And in the beginning, we are releasing the old and letting go of it, and our eyes are opened and our awareness is opened and our minds are open. So we're becoming cleansed and cleared and purified of the old, so we can mutate into something new. So even though I'm saying all those things, I actually don't know the way the structure needs to form, and we will figure it out as we go along. But the key here is that we understand that we're going through this transformative process where we need to be purified of our old beliefs, our old way of thinking, our acceptance of things like I'm not enough or whatever it is, whatever we brought to the table that now needs to be dissolved and released, so we can go, you know what, that was my past, this is who I am now. I see myself as an equal, and that I need to take action in order to be part of what's going forward and kind of take my place, however that is. It's not an action saying you have to do specific things as much as you have to become more of who you are. So it's not the acts you do out in the world, but it is how you treat yourself, how you treat others, how you respond to things. That is the crux of this mutation, this experience, this purification that we're going through. So the releasing of old dichotomy, dynamics, poison, pain, etc., releasing it and going, okay, that's done. I'm moving into the present. Who am I now? What do I do now? How do I show people who I am and what I accept right now? And that's all down to the fall, this energy of building something new, starting over. What is useful here? What isn't? Bringing ideas into matter, new ideas, innovation, but making it very, the structure strong enough to withstand what can happen, because there's a lot of things that can happen. So we need that foundation. I feel like we talked about this last week. It's really important that we understand the power of this time we're in, that structure of this time we're in, that we can't build all the little bells and whistles, but we can build the basic structure of where we're going. And how we do that is by letting go of our stories as much as we can, being as honest as we can with ourselves and with others, right? Not trying to pretend like, oh, the thing I like or I love is better than the other thing, but just seeing everything like they, like humans, we're all doing the best we can, even if it doesn't look like it. And if we take that premise, then we go, well, what is acceptable to me? Where are my boundaries? Where am I going to speak out? So that we are not feeling oppressed, like we can't express our feelings, we can't say what's true, that everyone has to agree. No, because that means we're being oppressed, right? If we say everyone has to agree because my opinion is right, or everyone has to agree because, we can agree to do certain things together because we see that that's the way forward. But we don't want to, automize people, right? All things or choices. We want to be open enough, but we want to be aware enough that we're not fooling ourselves, that our choices are, and if it's not working, we have to be honest. We have to go, this isn't working. We need to have those conversations. So lots of that stuff is in the fall, in the grounding, in the materializing of a new way of being, a new way of thinking. This is an expansive opening. The 22 is a portal. It's an opening into restructuring, creating peace, right? Not stopping people from having arguments, but the peace of knowing who we are so we don't have to prove it over and over again. And this idea of designing what we desire as opposed to just starting to build, right? And that's important. Let's design the structure carefully. And let's start laying the foundation by being honest and communicating well with each other and apologizing when we need to and having compassion and kindness, but also standing up for ourselves. So this is a really complex change that we have to step into. All right, so very interesting. We moved from the four, which the green, the heart, to the crystal, the background of the tool, one of the tools. So we have the number, the tool, the background red, the crystal, the light. This tool is about light, allowing the light in, allowing ourselves to be purified. Because one of the things that's a danger to us is our dismissal of the idea of purifying our thoughts, purifying our approach. So it's just what's coming to mind, of course, is the COVID thing, that all this stuff which has been about this virus, right, that attacks. So it's like we have to be careful, we have to wash our hands, we have to cover our mouths. So it's kind of like we have to purify our voices, we have to purify the way we breathe in, the things we think and what we say. We want to kind of go back to ground zero in a sense, and just let go of the illusions and irritation we have with others and kind of go, okay, it doesn't really matter, just let it go. Want to forgive them. It doesn't mean that we allow that behavior going forward, but let's just have that clean slate. Let's the light in, let us be illuminated by the purification, the idea that we can start again and go, okay, everything's at this level. Somebody comes in, they need to be shown the new way, right? Let's show people by doing those things and holding people accountable and ourselves so we can go forward in this way. So this idea of letting the light in, of illuminating ourselves, our minds, our thoughts, purifying the sense of our will, of who we are, who we think we are. How do we get safe enough to feel like we can shine our light and be who we are and joyfully activate this time instead of being, hiding in dark, shadowy places or staying with our fears and not allowing ourselves to be uplifted by the energy that's available. Like we can choose joy or we can choose the fear and go, okay, this is terrible. It's just going to get worse and worse. What if all of this that's happening is allowing ourselves to purify ourselves, giving us an opportunity to go, wait a minute, yeah, it all looks terrible, but let me move it out the way so I can see what's behind it. Because all of this stuff that's falling around us and we're seeing is the culmination of choices that have been made, that we have made collectively. And so what choices are we making going forward? Third and final card, so very interesting because did this card show up? I know it did for my group for the cocoon, so I'm just wondering, it showed up this month, and so that makes me think it showed up here, which it may have last week. To be honest, 1 week feels like about 10 years. I can't remember what happened last week because it feels so long ago. It's amazing how time is just flying so quickly, and yet it feels so long ago. Like each day feels so long that, and not in a bad way, but just like I can't remember the beginning of the day. It feels like about 10 days have passed since the morning. And so this is kind of how I'm feeling. And I don't know if you're feeling like that, but I just feel like time is just distorting itself, which makes sense because Saturn, which is one of the 3 major players in this huge change we're going through, is the father of time. And our construct of how we've lived has been so glued into this very fixed idea about what time is and what we can do with it. And many who know better than I say that time is it's a construct, it's a human construct. But of course, our world lives in this energy of going through patterns of light and dark, of expectations and growth and planting seeds, this idea of making something real, finding the light within it, right, to kind of activate something new. And then we come to this, right, which I think is very interesting, green, red, blue. So very, very interesting. So the idea here, when I look at this, is first of all, this is an 18. And of course, I always get excited when we have one of each card in a reading, which doesn't happen very often, but it's always so perfect, right? You have the kind of, the starter energy. Okay, this is what this is. This is foundational stuff and connected to the heart. And then the kind of fire of the light, of waking up in a new way, seeing things through new eyes. And then this card, the 18 soul portal. So 18 is about endings. It's a 9, but it's also about our realization of what we've achieved. We've achieved the ultimate of what we came here to achieve up till now, for the time we have lived till. So we have culminated that experience and we're moving into a new experience. And what that means is that we have to release parts of our ego that are not going to be useful to us. The purification I was talking about, the illusion that, it's someone else doing this, someone else is in wrong, and that's what's stopping me from being right or okay or whatever. Someone mistreated me, somebody didn't listen to me, they disrespected me, any of those things. Those are all egoic illusions, because we don't have any control how other people treat us, but we have control over what we tell ourselves about how people are treating us and how we respond, right? We have control over that. We can say, this person speaking in a way that doesn't feel good to me, so let me just tell them to stop, or to stop talking to me that way, or let me tell them that I'm walking away from this because I don't appreciate it. But there's ways we can set boundaries and still be super, in ourselves, grounded and connected, very much in this energy of the fall. So we can create the energy of light and be very grounded, right? So we can be fiery and grounded. We can create growth through this channel that's available to us. And here, when we look at this, the blue can also speak to our throat, our speaking out, our voice. How do we change our voice in this time? And what is so powerful here, of course, is the figure here with her face, her throat, her hands held up to this energy that's coming down, this channeling of energy, this idea of mutation. We talked about mutation. This time we're in is about mutation. And I don't mean that, we're going to be artificially changed. There will be the opportunity, because some people are into that stuff, right? But this is more about mutation in a sense of growth, that we have gone through a phase, we've culminated that phase, and now we need to change who we are in order to live differently in the new phase. And so to me, this whole point of all of this energy coming in here, the third eye to the crown, to the throat, is the awareness of how we need to present ourselves in the world going forward, how we receive this manna from heaven, right? This flowing down and through into our being, into our heart, into our safety energy, in this feeling of knowing that we are being enveloped in love, in the expression of our truth. So very powerful, moving energy that it can also bring tears. It can bring, an awareness, an awakening. We do have Pegasus here. There's the trident right up there. So Neptune, this idea of releasing our illusions, but activating our dreams. So as we release this idea of our attachment to what time is, or how people need to behave, or how they've mistreated us, we also, in the unfairness of the world, we also gain the knowledge, the awareness of what is possible, right? So awakening to our dreams, to the light within us, to what's available in source, our connection to the earth, the flow of life that allows us to birth new things. And very interesting because there's a pool of water. It's all about this sense of growing through our imagination. And you know, it comes back to the four, right? Which the four is bringing ideas into matter, right? The divine bringing ideas into matter and allowing us to see the light, right? In the sense of, not the sense of illusion, but truly what is available to us if we are willing to open our hearts, open our minds to this idea of being informed in a new way, of living in a new way. So that feels very powerful. I think this week is really a week of awareness, like allowing ourselves to feel the sorrow, the heaviness, the pain, the kind of what happens when we wake up. This kind of like, oh my God, what have we done? What have we created? What is, you know, what has been my illusion? And now I see this all, and I see things I didn't see, and I'm shocked by what I hear, and I'm confused about how I need to behave, but allowing this expanse of energy to fill us and fill us so that we now become more whole, more grounded, more rooted in earth in a whole new way, because we are filled with light, the kind of light that has no illusion, that allows us to be truly magnificent in this time. So it really releases a lot of the old so that we can begin to embrace the new. And so while we can't, you know, remake the world in a week, we can begin to allow those old stories that have kept us feeling safe and kept us in our illusion, letting them go, so that we can truly step to the next level of empowerment and autonomy, taking the freedom we're being offered right now. So, wishing you lots of love, because this is a big, big week, really big time we're in. So take care of yourself, lots of self-care, lots of time to breathe, meditate, be in nature, finding the ease as opposed to getting hooked into what people are talking about. How much do those stories really matter when the truth is, what is it that you're wanting to create and live in? If you want to live in peace, then that begins with you, right? On that note, I do have a class with a workbook that I'm doing coming up, I believe on the 19th of October. It's a Dissolve Your Myth. It's a workbook with some live teaching every day for 10 days, 2 weeks will be a little live teaching with the workbook, really helping you move through some of these myths that we've been stuck in so you can move to the next level. I'll put the link below. It's going to be $22 to join. So if you're interested, the link will be here. Regardless, take time to really allow yourself to be compassionate to the self that wants to merge out of this time, out of this mutation and this purification. Leave me a comment. I appreciate likes and subscribes, and I'll see you soon.